You guys are ready?
Hello, my name is Alexandra Paloma.
I'm Nick Martino.
I'm Coasley Office.
I'm Emily Torres.
I'm Siobhan Chagosky.
And we are Politicate, a not-for-profit educational website geared towards high school and college students that provides political information so our users can become more politically informed and engaged citizens.
So most of you probably know the big issue in society right now, which is the lack of young people in participating in the political process. And according to the U.S. Census Bureau, only 49.4% of 18 to 24-year-olds are even registered to vote in the Midwest. And on top of that, a record high of 36% of young voters actually went and voted for the midterm elections last November. And I actually had the privilege of being an election judge last November and last month for the municipal elections. And something that I found when talking to people, just like as they're coming in, was that almost every single person last month said that they wished that there was a place where they could go to get all of their information about politicians and about politics, like the big issues, so that they could be able to just walk in and vote because they didn't really know who was on the ballot for these local elections. This is where Politicate comes in. We could solve those big problems. And we believe we could do that by, if people just went onto our website, created an account, and then they would take a survey that would tell them where they stand in the political spectrum, as well as give us information about the big things that they care about, whether that's social issues, immigration, stuff like that, and then we can give them factual information from a variety of sources about those issues relative to current events, politics, and politicians, so they can become more informed and educated citizens and be ready to vote when the time comes.
Okay, so for our competitors, mainly we only have indirect competitors being in two groups, one being sources that provide political information, and those would be the big news channels like Fox, CNN, but most of those sources are very biased to their own opinion. Also, the other group of indirect competitors would be sources and sites that provide the users with where they would stand politically by various surveys. But we believe that Politicate is much more unique than all of these sources because not only are we educational, providing our users with where they will stand politically and the up-to-date information on topics they care about, but it's also customizable to each user. So when they are taking our survey, we get to find out about those topics that really matter to each user that we have, so we can cater the information that we are going to be providing to each of our users. And it's also very convenient because it's a website and they'll have their own personal accounts. So anytime they go on our website, it's right at the click of a button. And so for our minimal viable product, we were testing the problem part of our business model and just to see if this problem was big enough to actually build a business upon. So how we did that was conducting a survey, and we used one of our competitors' surveys to start off to see if the service that we would provide would be actually taken well by the users. So we conducted 262 surveys, and through this, after we sent them the survey, we also would send them emails with information about the topics that they cared about. And we got a very good response, as you can see from the graphs. Most people said they really liked this service and that they would like to have it as a product in the future. And also, we were going to sell these email lists and demographic lists in the beginning to local campaign companies for profit, but then we decided against that, and Nick will explain why a little bit later.
So in order to get the surveys out, we decided to use Instagram and Twitter to promote it, and we'd post a picture, and it would be a quick, simple link that they could press that would take them directly to the survey that Xandra just explained. And with Instagram, we ran 2 trials for a week each, and through that we reached 21,751 people, and out of those people, 500 clicked our website, and 90 surveys were taken from those 500 clicks to the website. And we found this really valuable because it was people that we had no face-to-face reach with. It was purely just from the Instagram, and we knew this because on our survey response sheet on Google Drive, they provide the times that they were taken, and there were 90 surveys that were taken in the time period of our Instagram promotions. And so we did 2 7 days of those, and then really wanted to do a third Instagram promotion, but Instagram raised their prices, so we would have had to pay almost $1,000 to reach the same amount of people, so we decided to use Twitter. And we felt that that would be really valuable because lots of people were always active on Twitter, and that's a huge place of political opinion. And we did a one-day promotion. We reached 24,501 people, but unfortunately we only got 5 surveys, so that was something that wasn't what our goal was, but for one day, again, that was really good. But overall, we spent $236, and we still have $134 available, which we would further invest into our advertisements.
In addition to using Twitter and Instagram, we decided to further our outreach by doing sales calls to local colleges in the Chicagoland area and contacting those professors of social studies and political science to try and get their approval of administering a survey that we sent out to them. And from that, it allowed us to see whether or not these students were willing to take it at their own time, and a majority of the people who did take it did it at their own will, which is a really good sign. And from all of this, we gathered 262 surveys and 358 emails. And we also are going to be sending out emails regarding their what they put for their surveys. So if we put a ranking on if they like it a lot or if they don't like it, so 1 to 5 rating. So if they were to rate a 4 to 5 on a political issue, we would send them an article that they might seem interested in. And then that's where we would implement our concierge service. For our market size, our total addressable market is 1.2 billion in the world for 16 to 24-year-olds. Our serviceable market is 1.65 million for 16 to 24-year-olds in the state of Illinois. And our market share is 800,000 16 to 24-year-olds in the Chicagoland area.
So our per unit and general costs, we are a website, so we're free, which we thought would incline people to go on to it, because if they're not interested in the beginning, why would they go and pay money? And so where most of our money is going to be going is for advertising and marketing and technological and website management, and also exposure such as the sales calls. And we're also looking to get into some political or teacher conferences. Like there are a few like social studies teachers conferences, and we feel like if we can get into those and present, that we could reach a huge amount of students.
So as it was explained earlier, we are not-for-profit, and as Xandra said, we were originally going to use the information from the surveys to sell to like local party, political party groups like in the area, but we decided that we didn't want to do that because we didn't want people to think that we were going to be skewing our information based on the political parties that we're talking to. And we also wanted to just focus more on the mission rather than the profit aspect of it, which is why we decided to go not-for-profit, and Siobhan will explain that more in depth now.
Okay, so the main way we get revenue for our company is through applying for grants. For our first year, we're hoping to get a $10,000 grant for a small non-for-profit organization. For our first year, our cost of goods would be zero because we're online, but however, our main expenditures would go for our general costs, and that will be equal to $16,440. This breaks down into marketing, website management, and exposure, as Chris said. And our net profit is a negative for our first year, around $6,440. However, through in our fifth year, we're hoping to get $945,000 through our grants as our company grows. We're hoping to get a bigger size of the grant money for our website. And as our company grows, our costs also increase. So we would be spending $685,050 on website management and general costs associated with our company. Our net profit for our fifth year would be $259,900. For a non-for-profit, we have to take our net profit and invest it back into our company for fifth year, and then we could increase our user experience and increase our service capabilities. For our capital ask, we're asking for $17,500. This breaks down into startup, maximum losses, and liquidity cushion. For our startup, we're asking for $9,250. Now that breaks down into our administrative costs, which is the formation of a 501c3 non-for-profit organization, as well as a trademark for our logo. And our development costs, which we got a quote from a company. We estimated that they estimated to develop our website would cost $7,000, and the rest would cover any marketing costs that we can recover with our grant. Our maximum losses is to $6,440 loss for our first year, and $1,810 liquidity cushion in case our companies our reaches and goes.
We truly believe that we have the solution to a really big problem in society right now, and we would really love it if all of you were on board to help us solve this problem. We are Politicate, Politics Made Easy. Thank you.
How would you replenish your website with information?
So we would go to like a variety of sources and get factual information from those sources. So like instead of focusing on like the politics of an issue, we'd go to like the root of an issue. So like for example, like the Green New Deal, you hear a lot about the politics of it, but not a lot of people actually know what it is. We would be searching for what it is, giving that to people so that they could create their own opinion based on the facts.
And would you publicize people's political, like the politicians' political feelings or stances?
We would do that, like when election season comes around, we would, with the issues that people care about, we would give them information about if that politician has been in office, how they acted or voted on those topics. So that's like quantitative evidence of how that person feels about those topics, and then again, that user could make their own opinion about that.
Clearly, you want to stay as objective and independent as you possibly can.
Yeah.
It's like perfect journalism here. Like there's no bias. It's not editorial. It's just real factual.
It's a great idea. I have to say, I literally can't stand watching either CNN or Fox.
Yeah.
Because it's
Very
just
polarizing.
it's not reporting. It's editorializing.
Yeah. And so how are you going to do that? Like the content. There's 5 of you. We didn't see any money towards that, or like where does the content come from?
Well, when we were doing our little concierge thing, sending out those emails, I was going in and going to searching up a topic for a group of people that care about that issue, and then I was going in and finding articles pertaining to that topic and like picking out things that about the same topic, like multiple sources. So I couldn't go as in depth as we wanted, just because it is a lot of work, but that's how we were doing it for those.
That's going to be a huge.
Yeah.
I mean, we're hoping that through the development of our website, we can make an algorithm that scans through our people's surveys and then automatically goes to the internet and finds the most relevant and recent up-to-date information and sends them. This was included in the website updating and other costs of maintaining and replenishing.
So when you did surveys, what did you ask people?
We asked them a variety of questions, like basic information, because originally we thought we were going to be selling their information to other political companies. So we have like their name, where they're from, basic.
What are key issues?
Yeah. And then we took the survey from I Side With, and that'll ask you like more politically involved questions, like what's your stance on abortion, how much do you care about it? So then we have a bunch of questions politically too.
The branding is great.
Yeah.
Whoever did it, really, really good. Why non-for-profit? Is it, Nick, based upon what you said, hey, we thought the way to make money was to sell this, and then we thought, well, that doesn't feel right, therefore we're going to pivot to be nonprofit? Were you thinking for-profit before that?
Yeah, we were. And then as we talked about it more, we just decided we wanted to focus more on the mission of the product and not.
So now you're getting grants. Aren't you still in the same scrutiny of the perception of whoever's funding this is a way for them to put forward their political agenda, no matter what.
Yeah.
Whoever gets your money, they're like somebody's going to snoop behind it up. They're funded by a person that doesn't agree with me. So
Well,
I don't know how you,
yeah, I guess that's like one of those things that's hard to escape in that way, but for our first few grants, we were looking towards government provided grants.
Do grants last multiple years?
It depends on the type of grant you're looking at. So I about a week ago, I went to the library and was looking through the grant database, and it really depends on the type of grant you're looking for. So there are some grants that will last multiple years, but most grants for websites mainly are on a yearly basis, like a one-time startup fee just to pay for your costs. But that's something that we are planning to look more into. As you said, there is always a risk on who's giving you the money and how that's going to be perceived. So that's something we want to make sure where we're getting our funding from is not going to.
You know, when I saw $945,000, that's a lot of grant money. That's going to be a lot of work for having somebody get after those grants.
Yeah.
Should you formulate some kind of strategy to make money, raise money somehow besides grants?
Yes. We also are hoping, as we're not-for-profit, that obviously donations would be an aspect, mainly just from public and citizens, not from like larger companies, because as well that would look as if it's skewing our service. So yes, that would be an aspect. And we might also look down the line onto things like advertisements on our website. Just for now, what we are hoping is just, like, all of us care mainly about our problem.
You could get like the NRA to advertise.
That would be an example of a different kind.
How can we convince you guys not to be a non-for-profit? Like, I get that you don't want to be bought by anybody. But there are new types of companies. Like, has anyone talked to you about a B Corp? Like, they're called Benefits Corp. Like, we care about purpose, planet, and people, and that's what we live for and do. And it's really not about making money, but in order to move your mission forward, like, you need money.
Yeah.
And there's, like, every one of your indirect competitors, many of them would say they're pure journalists, and they're for-profit companies. And the way you make money is typically through advertising. But it just doesn't seem sustainable as a nonprofit, because it's this grant money that you got to continually get, and you really haven't escaped the question of being bought, because somebody's funding you, as opposed to advertisers that all have very different political points of view. As long as you keep your content pure, you can stay true to your mission, I think. But I wouldn't even worry about monetizing it for the first 2 years. I would raise enough money to build a user group and great content and great users, and when you have that, it'll become clear on how you can monetize it. But once you declare yourself a nonprofit, it's kind of hard to go back.
I disagree. I'm going to disagree with my friend here. I think the not-for-profit angle is just perfectly consistent with what drove you to create this business or this idea in the first place. It allows you to maintain the integrity of what you're doing. And yeah, you're trading, having to worry about who's advertising on your site with who's donating money to your organization, but you're always going to have that problem. I think there's just a lot more pressures that come as you grow and have to pay the bills with advertiser money that you're just kind of a captive, vehicle for them to spew their politics on your site. So I don't know. I think I don't have a problem with it.
I'll give you an insight maybe on some of this. So again, because I think it's really interesting. The insight you didn't get to dive into, and you didn't think about how you decide to bring this to life via grants or different ways, is you had such high results. It sounds like working with those colleges and getting those emails out and the numbers there. What is the insight there? Because there's either a partnership there or opportunity there, I think. Those were really high numbers for people who are actually participating in your surveys, taking your information, or the connections you made through those colleges. So just know that there's something there that you may want to explore that might help you build this base
Yeah, that's what we were trying to do with getting exposure to the conferences of social studies teachers throughout the U.S. Because we think if we can expand it to a bunch of high schools throughout the state or throughout the Midwest even, a ton of students can take that, especially with teachers administering. So that's taking away even some of the marketing costs off of Instagram and Twitter. And so.
What's a concierge service?
So the concierge service is just pretty much us doing the survey, like manually inputting their answers that we're getting from our survey and putting it into our competitors and then getting the results and then sending it back to them, as well as like how Nick was researching, for finding those facts and like new articles, new news on the newest political occurrences, and then sending it to our users via email.
Last question.
You had 262 surveys filled out, but then at one point, Kenny said you had 90 filled out from Instagram and 5 from Twitter, 262 from colleges. Does that mean you had like 300?
That was total. Yeah, that was cumulative. That was cumulative.
So as we think about the colleges, it was 262 less 95, because 95 came from social media. That's not a really good last question, but
One more.
How much time?
One more.
How much time did it take you to pull together the information to spit back at the?
It took a lot of time.
Like, what's a lot?
No, it's more like, it's a few minutes per survey, but like 5 minutes for a lot. Like it's pretty time consuming.
And then getting the information.
But the
I
research.
ended up doing that 2 to 3 times a week relative to my other school class load, but that was like, I kind of just set aside like an hour or 2 to like make sure I was getting good information, compiling lists.
That's
Now you-
on
so
a
you know
scale of 1 to 10, how in it are you guys? Are you like, how passionate are you about this, of solving this problem? And you can go right down the line, scale of 1 to 10.
Probably a 7.5 or.
I would say like an 8 or a 9. I think it's a very big problem that's occurring right now, and I think the most important thing is that you hear a lot of kids like talking to each other about political issues, but they don't really understand what they're talking about. So I think it's very important that if like the next up and coming generations are informed, it's shaping our future. So I think it's very important.
I 100% agree with Xandra. This is a very important issue. I would also say 9.
I would say like a 4. Me personally, I'm not. I should be the one that's using this app versus making it.
10 as a user.
Yeah.
263.
If I'm gonna be completely honest, like politics is not my thing, and I just don't want to. I don't want my like opinions to, you know. I'd rather just use it. And,
Yeah.
Alright, so I'm like a 7 or an 8 because at first I was involved in politics, but I wasn't as involved. But once I started like with Politicate, I like got more into it, and now I like love politics, especially since like juniors right now are required to take a civics course, and then so I'm more involved in it than I just like politics now.
The challenge really is going to be staying objective.
I think I've raised to an 8 right now.
Or building a reputation of objectivity. You know, that sometimes can also take time. So, you know, that might be something that builds. And you actively plan for that, so that it becomes one of your articulated.
Well done.
Thank you.
Really well done. Thank you. Really well done. Good job, despite your position.
I
Awesome that you said that. No.
I was like,